for the rest of the year?
Whether the listings or not, I need to get these 5 deals done.
Okay, no matter where it comes from, I like it. How about you? How many listings do you want to take this year? Yeah. I like it. All right. How many? Put a number on. 5, 2, 1, 10.
I'll be happy with just 2.
2. Okay, cool. So start. The first thing I would recommend is start getting intentional about your goals. If you have a goal to do 10 deals this year, you want 5 to be buyer, 5 to be seller, and that way you can start wrapping your head around being focused on who you need to go out and get. My goal is to take 5 listings a month. Okay, 5 listings a month, and I'm not stopping until I do. And that typically means I need to talk to about 30 people a day to be able to accomplish that goal. So while we go through this, start thinking about what your personal goals are and what you want to take away with it, so you can just start road mapping the last 6 months of the year. So raise your hand if you've been in business for less than a year. Okay. How about 1 to 5 years? Okay. 5 to 10? Okay. 10 plus? All right, cool. Well, so as you can see, we have collectively, I don't know, 100 years worth of experience in this room. So if we can, talk about these things together today and participate a little bit, that'd be awesome. Help me out with it. And something to consider is if you don't have urgency, it's impossible to build urgency with or for someone else. So your dreams and goals big enough to drive you to wake up early, do income generating activities daily, follow up and go on appointments daily. And if you're feeling drained and tired and overwhelmed, then please take some time to realign yourselves this year, right? You've heard me say that before. And if, because what you did last year to get you to where you got won't be what you need to do this year to get you where you want to be, right? You got to double down on some activities and actions because there's less inventory and interest rates are through the roof. Okay, cool. So research has shown that the majority of realtors convert less than 50% of the listing appointments they go on. That sucks. So what actionable takeaways can you write down today that will make your conversion go higher than the average? So question number 1, why do agents not convert on appointments? What do you think, John?
They don't set expectations.
They don't set expectations. Okay. What do you mean by that? For like the agent or?
When you do I'll put it this way, they don't do a pre-listing qualification call where they intentionally ask, when I come out, you intend to list this with me.
Okay. I like it.
Not setting the expectation that they're going there to get the listing.
Yeah, how many times have you gone on an appointment and you ended up just BSing with them, and before you know it, you're out the door and you didn't get a listing, you don't know why you're there, right? Like, it's almost like some people have nothing but time, so they want to invite a stranger over to their house and show them how nice their kitchen is and bullshit with them for an hour. It's weird.
These things happen.
But if you pre-qualify, like what you're talking about, you can avoid some of that minutia to get to people that are serious and qualified, like you're starting to find out in your business, which is really cool to watch that grow. What about they don't have a process or know the market? Some agents don't convert on appointments because they don't have a process or know the market. What do you think, Janet?
Because they don't do the kind of studying that we do.
Okay, market
So-
stats.
Market stats, trainings, and just research. I mean, if agents don't know the market, they can't help their clients. So it just becomes, like you said, a visit rather than
A visit, yeah, that's cool.
So
So if agents don't know the market, how could they articulate it to clients is what you're saying? That's a really good point. Okay.
And often, sometimes when you don't take listings often,
Mhm.
you do get in the door for an appointment,
Yep.
you're a little stale.
You're rusty.
Solicitation.
Yep.
And delivering your value proposition.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. I actually don't have that in here, but when so I'm used to taking a good amount of listings on a monthly basis. And if I ever go a month where it's like the end of the month and I have to take the listing, I trip out, right? I'm like, whoa, dude, something's wrong with me, something's wrong with the market. I gotta go list something tomorrow. So I'll just take whatever I can. I'll take it overpriced, if a little bit overpriced if I need to. I'll take a piece of crap property. I'll drive 3 hours to take it. I don't care. I go and take a listing the next day, even if it's not ideal, to get me back into the routine. Because once I get that one taken, I'll work on selling that and reducing it later. But that opens the door to help build up my confidence to say, hey, I'm a lean, mean listing machine, right? To get back into the game, which is awesome. Hey, welcome. How's it going?
Sorry,
Hey, you're all good. We were talking about why agents don't convert on appointments, right? What do you think?
Because they don't ask.
They don't ask for clothes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mike Ferry says you gotta ask 7 times.
7 times.
We did this before at that other office, right? You and I were doing all the talking.
That's okay, we got some good participants today. All right, what about a bad track record?
Oh, that doesn't matter.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think they're Googling it?
Oh, yeah, they can Google it, but you just gotta have a profile, right? Something that looks decent.
Sure.
Then if you got a bad track record, you just start making it right.
I like it, but what if somebody wrote a bad review about you 2 years ago and they?
I have one. And I was recommended that they keep that bad review.
Yeah.
Shows that you're human.
Sure, it does. But what if
This
you
guy
have,
was mad at me.
here's the point, what if you have a bunch? What if you have a bunch of bad reviews? Could that affect your appointment? Maybe you don't even get the appointment because you have bad ones,
Well, but
right?
what you do is you get a bunch of good reviews and it goes down.
Yeah. But you don't want to have bad track records, my point here. You brought up the next point, they don't close. If you go on an appointment and you don't go for a close, how can you earn their business? And I like to close because, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but it uncovers their underlying objections, help you overcome them.
And if you have your scripts,
Yep, it's yours.
then you'll be prepared to ask.
Yeah, which is cool. It's nothing better than that. Why agents don't convert on appointments? What if the breast smells bad? Yeah, John?
Oh, where's lunch? We got garlic.
What if you don't have urgency as an agent? If you don't have urgency, can you build urgency for a client that you're meeting with? Maybe they're like, come back in a couple months. Or do you have the urgency to be like, hey, as opposed to coming back in a couple months, what if we looked at the financial benefit of selling now? Right? Okay, that's called urgency. Anybody else have any input on that?
Where are
We're right at
we?
6 steps. All right, cool. So we're going over the 6 steps here. Number 1 is set an appointment. Where can you find potential clients to set an appointment with? Who knows?
How are you guys?
Walmart,
Circle prospecting.
Circle Prospecting, that's really good.
SOI,
SOI.
FISBOs.
FISBOs is awesome, like that.
Expired.
I like FISBOs.
Sorry, what did you say?
Expired.
Expired.
Audrey said open houses, that's a really good one. Right, make sure you're taking notes down here because here's something to think about. We just rounded off like 7 or 8 lead sources. How many of those are you participating in? Do you have 4 to 6 different lead sources that you're prospecting to on a weekly basis? Because if you only have 1 or 2 and you're not at your goal for the year, consider that that's why, because you don't have enough lead sources. Okay, also consider, it might not be the leads that are bad, it might be your sales skills that are bad if you're not converting. So what can you do to increase your sales skills? Okay, start thinking about some of those things in the back of your mind. What about door knocking? I think somebody said, John, you might have said that. As somebody said, SOI. Okay, fill the pipeline. When you lead generate, you don't have to lead tolerate. All right, number 2, pre-qualify the appointment. John touched on this a second ago. Why do we do it?
Set expectation.
You pre-qualify?
Yeah, I got the mind for scripts down.
All right, you got everything down. You're
Oh,
master.
I paid a
You
lot
come
of
here,
money.
you teach this.
I paid a lot of money for Mike Ferry, right?
Yeah, how many coaches have you had in your career?
Oh, I don't know. 4 or 5,
So take it from a legend. If you want
since 1990.
to get better, you have coaches, right?
I had this one coach, Jennifer Jacobs. I was paying her $1,000 a month for an hour a week on the phone.
An hour a week.
And she told me she was gonna fire me because I was complaining about how hard it was. She had me read 2 books,
Go over that.
Self-Talk Solution and As a Man Thinking.
So
So she said, school your thoughts,
self-talk,
solution.
self-taught solution, and as a man
So
thinking
school your
are 2
thoughts
really good book
and then
recommendations.
school your tongue.
School your
If
thoughts.
you
school
say
your
it's
tongue.
easy, it opens the doors to the
Uh-huh.
possibilities. You say it hard, I never say hard anymore. I
Yeah.
learned that lesson.
It constrains your mental ability to be able to
Yeah.
expand bigger. Okay, cool. That's like some next level ninja stuff. We're on base layer right now. All right, why do we pre-qualify? You said to set expectations, right, John?
Yeah.
Okay. What about to see what stage of the process they're in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Qualify.
Qualify.
Well, make sure you're not wasting your time.
Not wasting your time or more importantly, their time, right? I always like to say, hey, I want to make sure I'm not wasting your time. Let's go through a couple questions that I have. Because if you say, hey, I don't want to waste my time, I have a few questions that I need to ask you, that could be offensive, right? So I didn't want to waste your time. What about establishing yourself as the expert?
That pre-qualifying is a good way to do that.
Are other agents doing it?
Not nearly
No.
as you.
Or you? All you gotta do is ask. See if they're a real seller with equity and ownership. And to make sure you have all the decision makers. Has anybody been to an appointment with only half of the decision makers? Raise your hand. Yeah, right? Everybody. And what ends up happening? What's the first thing they say when you go for a close? Of course. So there's nothing wrong with asking, hey, for our appointment, will all decision makers be there? All right, number 3, we're talking about the 6 steps for taking more listings and converting at a higher rate. Number 3, show up early to the appointment prepared. What do you show up with?
Contracts.
Okay, contract, that's number 1. What else?
Comps.
Comps, okay.
There's various opinions on that. Because if you show up with a CMA, you haven't seen the place yet. And you may have, wildly varying comps. But there was this other guy, Mike Anderson, he was a coach, that he said, show up with a camera, make it a 2-stage, so that you go and take pictures, you say you gotta prepare all the marketing with your team, and don't give them the comps without getting the listing signed first.
Nice.
That's what his program was.
Listing to be determined price,
Yeah,
like that.
and then go back and go over the specific comp, and then he said there's like 6 prices.
Yeah, so that's a way to 2-part it with still getting the listing agreement signed on the first appointment.
Yeah,
Because what will happen is if you try to 2-part an appointment and they're interviewing more than one agent for the job of selling your home, which typically they are, and you leave without a contract signed, what happens? Every day you don't have a contract signed, your chance of getting that listing declines by 30%. So after a week, you have 0% chance of getting that listing. Now, sometimes you still get the listing, right, long-term follow-up and everything, but if they're interviewing other agents, they're gonna list it that week and you don't get it the first time you go and meet with them. Every day that goes by, your chance to go down, 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 down. So, all right, what else do we show up with? Kind of mentioned contract. What about pen? You sign a contract without a pen?
Thought that was a no-brainer.
You think so, but I showed up to a appointment without a pen, they don't have a pen. You have a listing and
It's time to sign a blood.
I guess, dude, that's dark. I tend to stay in the lane. What about a business card, right? But maybe you don't get the listing, but they're a couple months out and you just want to go and build rapport. What are they gonna put on their fridge? Your business card, okay? What if you put a QR code that says, hey, free home valuation, scan here?
I've been into FSBO's listing appointments with the magnet on the fridge, and I laughed to myself.
Who's the magnet of?
Somebody else.
Some agent, and you're
Yeah.
sitting there, right? That's funny. All right, what about appropriate attire? I don't know, I used to live in Ocean State, New Jersey, and a lot of the agents showed up in flip-flops, board shorts, right? Because they just got out of the water surfing. I show up, formal attire, maybe not rocking a tie, but at least looking decent, right? And I come in after that appointment, who has a higher chance of getting that appointment? Unfortunately, where we live in, it's myself. Because they might think that I'm more professional, because I at least dress the part. And for the first few years of my industry, it always helped dressing the part, because I could fake it till I made it, right? If I don't know what I'm talking about, but at least look like I know what I'm talking about, my conversion rate gets higher.
And you act like it.
And you act like it too, right? So do I want to wake up every day and put a suit on, go to the office? Hell no. But am I ready for an appointment today? And I don't have to take 2 hours to go home and change and get distracted and whatnot. If I have an appointment that calls me today that wants to meet at 4 o'clock, I'm ready to go, right? I just get my comps ready, get my contract ready, show up with a pen and business card and smile. Why do you think
Now,
you
that's
might?
a listing appointment, not a buyer appointment. You gotta show up with a full tank of gas. Sometimes you don't think about that,
Good point.
Bring the buyers in here.
Well, they
Put it
say
on.
never drive your buyers around, have them follow you,
Right.
so that you can go from one to the next, they can talk it over without you being there.
Buyer classes after this one. We're on listings right now.
Oh, yeah.
What about marketing? Anybody have a marketing packet? Raise your hand. If you don't have a marketing packet, consider getting one. Include strategies, data, and reviews. If you don't have a marketing packet, see me after this. I'll hook you up for free. All right, number 4, we're moving along quickly here on the 6 steps. Convert more listings. Close on the appointment with value, trust, and rapport. What are some closes that we can use? Who knows?
You ready to get me started working on this?
You ready to
Get started working on this.
Okay, you see the importance of taking your time when you go for the close? Take a breath, relax. Now say it.
You ready for me to get started working for you on this?
No, it still doesn't make sense. Does it make sense?
You ready for me to get started?
There you go.
Sign the contract.
Yeah, remember KISS, KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Oh,
We can agree on price to get the ball rolling.
If we can agree on the price today, are you ready to get the ball rolling? Okay, that's a really good one. You ready to get started? It's like what you said, right? It's a good one. Who else knows? Do you have a close that you use? What about sign here, press hard? Right. You have a close that you use? Yeah, there's a go. Yeah. Say it one more time for everybody.
If we can agree on price today, are we okay to get the ball rolling?
If we can agree on price today, we're ready to get the ball rolling. Sure are.
Good, so that we got all this.
Yes, exactly. What about, most clients, once we get to this point, move forward. So I'm guessing that you still have questions. What is it that you're still wondering that I can help you with? Somebody's resistant, sign here, no, what do you think about it? No problem, Most clients at this point move forward, but it sounds like you might still have questions. Tell me, what are you thinking about? We need to think about it. Great, 2 heads are better than 1. Let's think out loud. What we be thinking about?
Then you shake your head, you
Shake your
smile,
head,
your hand on the pad. And then when they say something, before taking a deep breath and panicking, they say, I'm so glad you brought that up. I like that. Because it gives you a chance to think while you have something to say, right? I'm so glad you brought that up.
Wow, so you're continuing to take it to the ninja level, the next level up. So what he's saying is, hey, when they give you an objection or say something, if you take your time and you say, I'm so happy you brought that up today. You're giving yourself an extra 10 seconds to think about, hey, how am I going to respond to their objection with an objection handler? You see, back in 1920, all the sellers got together in a house and they all said, hey, here's the 8 objections we're going to give real estate agents for the next 150 years. And they haven't gone away from the same 8 objections. If you learn how to overcome each and every one of them, you remember what to say. It just might take an extra second. So by repeating what they say, okay, will I do it for 6% or will I do it for 5%? I really appreciate you asking me that. You're taking the time to think in the back of your head, okay, what am I going to say next while I'm just uttering some nonsense to them real quick to buy in a second. All right, I like that. That's a great strategy. When I show your home to a buyer, you know what I'm going to ask them? I'm going to ask them if they're ready to make an offer. And the same confidence I'll have with them is the same that I do with you in asking if you're ready to get started so I can sell your home. I started using that a while ago, and I don't know why it works so well, but it always throws them off guard when I'm like, hey, when I have a buyer come to your home, do you know what I'm going to ask them? They're like, no, I have no idea. Well, I'm going to ask them to make an offer to buy your home. They're like, haha, yes, of course you should. Well, the same confidence I'm going to have asking them to buy your home is the same confidence I'm going to ask you to sign with me today. Right here.
That one.
Let's see, what else? Okay, here's my last point about this. Have you earned the right to close them?
That's the question.
It's a good question, right? I think maybe we're talking about why agents don't close on appointments. Could be because they don't think they've earned the right to close them, but it doesn't take much. You just gotta try. Okay, cool. Number 5, under promise and over deliver following the appointment, including marketing, pictures, communication. Why is what happens after the listing is signed the most important part?
It's your actions. What you're gonna do.
Say it again.
It's your actions, it's what you're gonna prove to them, what you're
Okay,
gonna do.
your actions and what you're gonna prove to them, right? You don't wanna let them down, that's what you're saying? Okay, that's a good
I
one.
used to work and get all these listings from FSBOs and expires and stuff, and then I'd go back and I'd start to do all my stuff, and I'd get everything, and I wouldn't communicate with them. And I had my broker coming to me saying, hey, these people want out. They're calling, complaining.
So
They
you're
haven't
taking
heard
listings, they wanted to cancel because you weren't communicating.
Yeah, and so somebody said, call them once a week and ask for a price reduction.
Right.
I'm like,
Call once a week and ask for a price.
I'm good at following directions, right? And I never had any problems after that, and I had twice the amount of sales, it was cool.
Sweet, all right, cool. So if you end up taking more than one listing, and which should happen, that's why you're in this class, right? Your communication level going down with each individual seller is gonna decline with each listing you take. Before you know it, you have 10 listings a month. The first listing you talk to, if they're not sold after 2 or 3 weeks, you tend to not communicate with them. However, if you schedule 1 day a week for 1 hour, schedule it out, block it out, and call all of your active sellers, update them on the market, do things like asking for price adjustments, giving them feedback on their showings, and just in general, even if you're like, hey, I don't have an update, I just want to call and touch base. You know, if they don't answer, leave a message. They at least know that you're still thinking about them. Okay, this is why agents get a lot of expires and cancels, because they haven't communicated with their client after 45 days. The client's like, this dude's not working for me, I need to find somebody else and fire him. So if you don't want to get fired, because we're in a shifting market, days on market is starting to add up a little bit here. Over communicate with your clients. Okay, so under promise and over deliver. Pictures, communication, marketing. Why is what happens after the listing is signed the most important part? What else do you guys think?
Well, the process is new to them, but it's old hat for you. So helping them feel confident in what's happening next will keep them endeared to you. I mean, they will love you.
Yeah, so what Janet's saying is we're in this cycle of selling real estate so much and so often that we start to take for granted the fact that we don't understand that our clients don't know this process. And we assume they do, right? Because we're talking to a lot of them. So Janet's saying, hey, take some time to communicate with them about the process and pretend that they have no idea how to sell a house and start from scratch, right? That's what you're saying, right? That's good.
I got another one. That if you communicate with them, you put the onus on them to sell their house. They expect you to sell their house, but they're doing the selling. And if you communicate what you're doing along the way, they'll be like, well, he's doing his job and it's not selling. So it'll be like, what do we do? And then you go in and say, we got to lower the price. They'll be like, okay.
Right.
They'll roll right over and it'll sell instead of becoming a
battle.
conflict, a
Yeah.
battle. Yeah.
Well, it's because you're earning their trust.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you bringing that up. That brings up another point. Are you pricing it right? And or have you explained a price adjustment after 2 weeks to them? Okay, instead of just coming out of the blue and asking for a price adjustment, have you set up the expectation, hey, when we list the property, it's not my marketing we're testing, it's the listing price we're testing. So if it hasn't sold in the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to be giving you feedback that we might be overpriced. I just wanted to let you know about that now and plant that seed. Then if you get really good at that, you'll take an addendum that says, hey, after 2 weeks, if you're not sold, go ahead and authorize me to make the price adjustment now. That way we can stay ahead of the market. Right, have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Sweet, I know you did. You're a legend.
Well, no, I just have gone to the trouble and spent the money. And
You went through headaches.
yeah, I
Yeah.
tried to do what the coaches have told me to do.
I like it. All right, well, what about under promise and over delivering is how you actually get paid? Gone are the days where you list a property and it's sold in a day. You actually get paid through communication, staying proactive and communicating with your realtor, with your clients. Can you leverage tools like showing time for feedback?
Mhm.
Ever use showing time? Yeah, you can link it up and just put it on so whenever somebody fills out the feedback, it's sent right over to the seller. That way you don't even have to follow up with the agents. It sends them like 6 messages or so annoying, but once you fill it out, it stops. Just make sure you get showing time set up on each and every one of your showings, even if it's just one, so you can help leverage that for communication. Okay, this is also how you create repeat and referral business too. Right? Nothing's better than that.
Gotta ask for it.
Yeah, you gotta ask for it, set up the expectation, right? All right, number 6, last one. We're about through here and then we can grab some lunch. Well, ask for referrals and repeat business as your SOI knows you, trusts you, and wants to do business with you. What can you say to clients to generate repeat and referral business?
I'm unemployed
I'm unemployed now, right?
Yeah.
now.
That's a good one for the settlement table. Hey, now that I'm unemployed, who else do you know that's looking to sell?
How about the greatest compliment you can give me is referring me to somebody you care about
Mhm.
and who's ready to sell.
Well, that's a really good one. Sounds like you practiced that one. Say it one more time for everybody.
one of the greatest compliments you can give me is referring me to somebody you trust and know.
It's a great one. Set up the expectation, right? Do we ask, hey, do you know anybody? Do we ever ask that?
Who can you think of?
Why do we not say, do you know anybody?
One word
Doesn't
answer.
make them think
Because it's
as
a
much.
yes or no question.
Yeah, it's like yes or no.
And they'll always say no, right? Even if they do. It's called a reflex no.
Or they say maybe, I was like, I don't work with maybes.
So this one kind of goes along with Janet's, but if between the contract signed and the settlement, you haven't referred me to anyone, I'll assume that I haven't done my job to the best of my ability, in which case I'll ask what I could have done differently to gotten a referral. And I don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation with you at the settlement table. So if you won't mind, next time you come across somebody, go ahead and give me their contact information, so I have a 100% chance of getting in touch with them. Okay, if somebody says they have a referral for you, great, send it on over. Do you ever get it?
No,
No. Your chances are greatly diminished. But if you say, hey, if you ever come across somebody that's looking to buy or sell real estate, if you wouldn't mind, reach out to me and give me their information, so I have a 100% chance of getting a hold of them. So that way you're setting up the expectation and you're actually teaching them how to give you the referral. Who else? Ask for referrals. What can you say to clients to generate repeat referral business? Anything we missed? Tammy, what do you tell people?
When to give me a referral.
Yeah, how do you set up the expectation with clients to give you referrals?
So, with my sphere clients that are, it's like, I just ask their permission if I can call them once a month to ask them if they know of anybody looking to buy or sell real estate.
Sweet.
So those people know I'm calling every single month to ask them that.
Nice.
And then when I call them, I ask them, hey, do you know of anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? Have you heard of anybody lately?
Right.
And they say, yes, either my neighbor, but usually it's in between those calls. They say, hey, I was talking to my neighbor, she's looking to buy, here's her phone number, here's her contact
So
information.
they'll end up reaching out to you.
They'll end up reaching out to me, or I get a text message with, here's the contact information for
Nice.
somebody. But it is a monthly touch.
Yeah.
So it's people that I call every single month.
Yeah.
And
So you're putting the work into it, is what you're saying.
Yes. Well,
But can I just sit
and
back
I
and-
talked about, the RAS before,
Yeah.
so the whole purpose of that is I've activated the RAS,
Yep.
who's moving. And so, do you know of anybody looking to buy or sell real estate?
Yeah, I like Tammy's line, do I have your permission to ask you about real estate?
Yeah.
Right, that's so good. Okay, cool, that's great, well, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right, so anybody have any other last minute things you can say to clients to create more repeat referral business?
I do have a question on how you would handle certain objection today.
Yeah, please, what's your objection?
I'm going to be interviewing a few other agents, I'll let you know.
Great. Is there anything in particular that I might not have explained to you that would make you not want to work with me?
No, but I have them on my schedule for tomorrow, so I want to hear from you as well.
Perfect, and I think that's a really great idea. Can you foresee any reason that I wouldn't be able to sell your home?
Not yet, but I haven't interviewed the other agents.
Okay, well, it's clear to me that because you haven't interviewed them, you might not have all the information, but based on what I've outlined with you today, do you feel that I would be able to sell your home?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what would it look like if I just saved you a whole lot of time and more strangers coming through your house and you go ahead and list it with me today? And then I'll simply call those agents and say, hey, great news, it's actually gonna be on the market. Here's the price, you have the first right of refusal, bring in a buyer. Could you see that working?
Yeah.
Great, let's go ahead and sign here, right? So that's just one of those objections that once you learn what to say, you say the same crap over and over again, because there's only 8 or 9 objections they can get to you.
I got one I was talking to, is, I bought a tent from him over KSL.
Sweet.
And he's selling all his stuff because he's gonna move into his other house in Florida, and he wants to empty his house out. He said 3 months.
Yeah.
What can I do to create urgency to try to get him to, move now?
Yeah. So the first thing I would mention is, hey, do you think you could sell for more money now than you could later?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
I don't know.
well,
What do you think?
sure, I appreciate you asking that. Well, I don't know what I think, but what I do know is that every time the Feds have been meeting, the rates have been going up. And luckily, they chose not to increase the rates last week, but they will be increasing the rates at least 2 more times this year. You know what happens to the buyers' buying power every time they increase interest rates?
Yeah, it goes way down. I
Goes down.
understand that it's like $600 more a month for the same house
Right.
a year ago.
Exactly. So what if we could get, what if we could help you sell high now and buy low and actually get the right price for your property that you need to net? And what we can do is even negotiate a contract where we put it under contract now, but you won't close or settle for 90 days from now. If I could do that, would you want to get started today? Right. So I think
I don't know why he had the 3-month. I don't know.
so
I
I
can
can ask later.
Ask him, why would you want to wait 3 months? Is there any reason? If we could get more now, that sounds great.
And why wouldn't you, right? Who would say no to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do a lot of these scripting calls every morning at Utah Roost, and we actually have a major problem right now where we have more leads than we do agents. So if you're looking to get hooked up on leads, you don't have to be with Keller Williams or even Utah Roost to be able to get access to our leads. There's a QR code on the back, scan that or reach out to me. I'm in here every Thursday and Friday, so talk to me about that. I'm happy to discuss with you. So final thoughts, figure out who's worth investing your time into and who's not worth wasting your time on. Raise your hand if you're ahead of goal real estate goal this year. Okay, two people are ahead of goals, fantastic. For the rest of you, consider that, are you wasting time on people that won't be doing anything here in the near future? Or are you investing your time with people that are serious and motivated?
Right, if you act like a professional and you ask the hard questions, you're gonna know whether they're motivated and qualified.
You sure are. And if they're not, that's okay, stay in rapport with them, stay in touch with them, but that doesn't mean that you need to be investing all of your time into them. You need to go out and find people that are more serious about getting ready to go now, because it's already summer, and before you know it, it's gonna be fall, and then winter. Our inventory and business, everything's starting to slow down, it's not increasing. Spring's gone, guys. If you're not ahead of your goal, start getting worried, because it's not gonna get any easier in fall or the winter. So this is a before, during, and after process. Before, going on a listing appointment is what I'm discussing here. Before, mindset, script, show up early, prepare by researching other features of the area, and past MLS listings of the property. If you're ever going on a listing appointment, maybe you're not sure of the town or the area or the city, you can become the local expert real quick by writing or printing out 3 to 5 features and benefits of that city or that area and mentioning them while you're touring the house of the client, right? Hey, you guys, check out that new Italian restaurant down the street. It's really good, check it out. Guess what? A half an hour later, they're gonna be like, hey, do you sell any properties here? No, they're already gonna assume that you work here. So during, mimic, mirror, match. Does anybody do that? Okay. One, it's tough, okay, what's tough?
I just not very good at reading people as
Really?
soon as they answer, because I know none of them want to talk to me except they answer the phone anyways.
So you have something that's in your brain called a drunk monkey.
Very drunk.
Okay, so you know what a drunk monkey is? Get a monkey drunk, it just starts throwing stuff all around the room, going crazy, and typically always thinks negative. What if you got the monkey out of your brain and only thought positive, right? So consider doing that from here on out, and I think you'll have better results. Because people do want to talk to you, you're good, you're cool dude. Tonality, volume, and speed. Yeah, just kidding. Okay, so mimic, mirror, match, okay, and a great way to do that also, John, is tonality, your vocal tonality, your volume, how low or high you're speaking, and your speed. If you're talking to somebody that's talking to you real slow and explaining about their house, and you're like, so tell me, after you get it sold, where are you planning to go next? You're not gonna build natural rapport with them because it's not gonna align. And people wanna talk with people that are in alignment with them. Give compliments and gifts. Anybody ever give a gift at a listing appointment?
I try to get them to give me one
Sweet.
without asking for it. That way you're part of the family.
That's it. Like,
You're a guest
so glass of
instead
water.
of an adversary. Yes.
Somebody offers you a glass of water, you saying no?
You say yes.
You say yes. I
I
like
got a glass of orange juice.
What if somebody's interviewing 3 people and you take a gift and the other agents don't? Okay, will that maybe separate you from the crowd?
What kind of a gift would you bring?
I've taken my wife makes these homemade vanillas, you know, in a glass jar, and I take them, hey, here's some cooking vanilla, my wife makes for you.
For
Helps
the
you-
house when you got an open house.
There you go, yeah, and it helps set up expectations of, like, hey, I'm not a used car salesperson, I'm just a cool guy that wants to come and interview with you and maybe take the listing if I want to. So consider taking a gift, and of course, if I don't get the listing, I take the gift back. No, I'm just joking. So follow a consistent process every time you go on a presentation, AKA a canned presentation. Does anybody have a consistent presentation they use on listings, right?
That's a real concern for a lot of people is the scripts and the can, because they think that it makes it look bad. You could address that in a second, but I've had to address that, right? Because I'm a salesman. They got like 7 out of the 8 definition script of a salesman is up the river without a paddle. And so you kind of got that in your mind. You're going in there with that, like, you know, and like it's not a very good attitude. And so if you got a good attitude about scripts and practicing, hell, we've recorded them, we've videoed them, so that you see what you look like during the objection handling, right?
Sure.
In order to try to, you know, be more polished and professional.
Yeah, it tends to work better that way than freestyling it. Your closing ratio is typically around 25% or below when you're freestyling it. Just gotta figure it out when I get there. And then when you actually evolve a consistent presentation, your closing ratio goes through the roof. So if you don't have one, again, come talk to me. I can hook you up. Get
My
your
first
marketing
5
back in.
years, I worked so hard and I'd get into all these,
Yeah.
and I never closed.
Yeah, never
And
close
they'd
for
call
5
me
years.
back, I'd get a few of them, they'd call me back and say, we liked you best, come back out and list the property.
Right.
Complete strangers. And then after 5 years, I took a course and got a coach and I started asking and man, I made so
Your
much
conversion
money.
went up.
It was so cool. It was cool.
That's awesome. All right, well, consider after your appointment, get active ASAP. Time is not on our side. Those sellers are like, give us a couple weeks. Like, we don't have a couple weeks. It's already summertime. We missed the spring market. Before you know it, fall's gonna be here. We gotta get this on the market yesterday. There's a shortage of inventory. Even if everything's not perfect, that's okay. Get it on the market, trust me. Pre-market and process correctly and get better at negotiating, guys. You know, these deals are gonna become harder and harder to put together because it's a shifting market. And if you're not a good negotiator, your closing ratio is not gonna be high. Even if you are getting listings, you're not gonna be able to get paid on all the work you did unless you get good at negotiating.
I got another question on objection.
All right, put.
The guy's got a friend in the business.
Okay.
And he mentioned that he worked for Chapman Richards. And I'm like, I said one thing, I said, you know, sometimes your friends put you on the back burner.
Yeah.
And then I left it, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, in this hot market, this is, if you put it on, I'm telling him, I was telling him some market information, right? That things are selling quickly and there's not a lot of inventory and it's a good time. But I didn't close him. And so now I gotta go back and I'm thinking he's gonna ask for a discount on the commission and it's gonna be so easy to sell that he might try it himself or something. I have these things in my mind. What
Oh,
did you
this is
say?
present day, this is right now?
This
Oh,
is
cool.
this guy.
Yes, so you're the guy, right? Your name's Tony. Tony, are you prepared to list your property with me now that you know what I do, sell homes like yours?
I got this friend in the business.
Great, do you want to hire me or your friend?
I guess my friend, I don't know, he's a realtor.
Okay, good. Well, I don't know who your friend is, but here's all the market statistics of properties like yours I've sold. Here's the buyers in our database and pattern. Here's what I do to sell your home. Do you think that I could sell your home based upon all this?
Yeah, I think
Great,
you
so
could.
why don't you just hire me today and then he can bring a buyer? That way you don't have to mix friendship and business, because that gets dirty, right?
Yeah, good.
Same here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I like that.
So the more appointments you go on, the better your ratio gets because you get better over time. And I didn't learn all this crap overnight, guys. It's literally taking me failure after failure after failure. But if you're not going out and failing, how can you learn what to do to become successful? Okay, so go out there and fail more. All right, questions, ideas, concerns?
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So Josh Stern included some market stats on the back here that he runs through the Roost on a weekly basis. Like what you were saying, hey, you know, share with the market statistics. It's always good to understand where the market is and kind of what's going on. So make sure to review some of that information. And then the rates are on the back of that. And if you notice at the back where the rates are at the bottom, you'll see a little thing for Silverback with Josh Cavalier. Josh actually brought lunch with us today. And if you don't mind, he's going to come up and shoot. Literally just 2 minutes and to share some information about it. So Silverback's home warranty, right? My favorite tool that they offer right now is the seller coverage. When I take a listing, they get free seller coverage for 6 months
I
with
just wrote
Silverback.
Silverback.
So if while you have a listing and their hot water heater goes out and they're calling you freaking out, you'd be like, oh, no problem, you had that covered with Silverback. let's get somebody over there to fix it, and you look like a hero, right?
That's during the listing, right?
Right, correct, yeah.
That's
Listing
cool.
coverage, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a PDF that you can use for your listing presentations, another value add to your sellers. Say, hey, you list with me, you get this free coverage. Not every warranty cover or company offers it, so we feel it's really important. Another part with that, we actually just had Andrew call me today about concessions. So concessions are something that come back into the market. We can actually help to handle concessions. Say you get a $3,000 carpet concession for your buyer. And the lender's like, well, is this getting done before? Is it getting done after? We can actually take on those funds. We put in a home warranty, take on those funds, and you can get the work taken care of after closing. We're doing a $25,000 concession for a bunch of different things, windows, roof. So the value isn't necessary, it doesn't have to be $1,000 or $2,000. But it's a great way to get the transaction moving forward. I gave you guys a little handout, and I'm happy to answer lots of questions. Many of you have heard me talk before. But we have a $60 service call fee. We have 3 buyer plans, 4, 5, and 600. So your buyers are never going to get stuck with the better plan. We have a free rekey included. Starting August 1st, we'll have sprinklers included in our $600 plan as well. We're not going to up the price for those. We'll also have a brand for brand refrigerator coverage, which will be an a la carte option. Great for Summit County, those homeowners that have Wolf appliances, more higher end appliances. We do brand for brand up to 5,000 on those, and that'll be starting probably August 1st.
What does that mean?
So say they have a Wolf refrigerator,
Oh,
which
higher.
costs $5,000, $10,000, and the normal amount that we pay out probably would not cover an entire refrigerator like that. It's gonna be a brand for brand, so they can get that exact same refrigerator.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
they get
It's
a
an
5
awesome-
grand.
Crazy good.
I like the free rekey too. Who has questions for Josh?
If you have questions, give me a call or shoot me a text.
Oh. I was just gonna say, so how long after the buyers move in, is there a moratorium on the time that they have to say, oh, oops, this doesn't work?
Nope, it starts the day that they fund and record. So there's no, we have a consumer plan as well. So somebody that's been in a home for 20 years, we can do those. Those have a 30-day wait period. It's kind of like health insurance. We don't have somebody that, oh, my furnace went out, let me call Silverback and get a plan. So those ones are a 30-day wait, but as far as real estate transactions, there's no wait.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yeah.
The money that you hold,
For concessions?
yes. Do you have to have the contractor's names, and is there a time frame that needs to be done?
No contractor names. We do need to know what it's going to be used for.
Okay.
We do have people that switch post transaction. Oh, I want carpet. Actually, I want to paint my house. We don't need bids. That's the why it's so great is you don't have to show all the bids and everything to a lender. We just receive the funds and work with the client from there.
But the client can't take the funds out, the seller.
Correct.
Contractor.
Yeah, we can't just cut a check for $5,000 to your buyers and they never actually do the work.
Right.
So usually like if it's a $5,000 job and we only have 3, the contractor will bill us for the 3 that we're holding, and your buyer would pay the remainder amount, just like a normal transaction.
But if they do the work, there is $500 left.
Leftover, we work with the buyer on that. Sometimes they'll find something else that they want fixed in the home. We can put it towards a second year of coverage, their renewal, any out-of-pocket expenses they may have. We don't just take their money.
And is there a time frame?
It's a year. We love to have it done within 90 days. We really don't like to hold that for an entire calendar year, but within the first year of the policy, they do need to use it. Otherwise, they will release those funds.
If anybody wants,
No, release it to us, essentially. Yeah, so if they had 10 grand and they decided, I don't want to do my roof for 2 years, they're gonna get a lot on that.
What are some of the things that could be a surprise? Like I had this one guy bought 3 houses. I got a home warranty with a different company. And they said it didn't cover anything. He threw up his hands and he won't call them anymore because he paid $60 for him to come out a couple of times. And so he's mad at me.
But was it Silverback?
It wasn't Silverback, but it was